Good evening. How are we all? Press the wrong button, which is why the intro didn't go through. But there we go. Here's what it is. Right, so things are a little bit different today because I'm going to be hosting the I am hosting because in the years since I was away, they haven't fixed the problem of some people being able to join lobbies. Who would have thunk it? There we go. Right, we've got. What are we doing today? What are we doing? That's what we're doing. It's the 19th of November, of course. It's 5 weeks from Christmas, people. Christmas shopping at the school. It's the Ferrari challenge. So that's what we've got running. It's race week number 2. We were at the Gran this week. We're at the high speed win. And I have an authority. If you like the high speed win and you want your own high speed run, then you don't need asphalt, you don't need loads of space, you just need 15 stairs and a vindaloo. And the following morning, you have all the high speed wins you want. There we go. I thought I'd get that out there. Although someone did do that joke earlier, I had it prepared. So we're expecting the usual suspects. Matty Adler is kind of, he's going to be here. He might just miss qualifying. Same as it was last week, fastest first, race 1, race 2, and reverse group for race 3. This time early morning, evening, and sunset. So I'm going to have to change all those things. What a pain in, what a high speed ring. That's going to be. Right, so qualifying starts in about 5 minutes. So full time with chatting absolute rubbish. Let me turn down the. We don't need race sounds that loud, do we? No, of course we don't. You want to hear my dulcet tones. I turned it up to make sure it was working because I have the monitor in my ear and stuff. There we go. Don't need to hear about what goes on in the back room. I don't know if you can hear it right, but upstairs, my girls are upstairs playing with the dogs, right, and it sounds genuinely like Basra, right in the middle of a war up there. But so if you can hear them, good for you. They're annoying. Right, so can I remember who won last week? I can. So we had 2 different winners last week. We had a Grasshopper. He won race number 1 and race number 3. PM10 with the win in race number 2. There's going to be a slight delay in between racing because I'm going to be trying to talk and broadcast and do the lobby at the same time. This is genuinely the first time I've set a lobby up in 18 months, somewhere like that. So, what have we got? Who's on track? So we're looking at the time. So Wadru at the minute is looking the quickest so far in practice, a 108.7. I reckon with a bit of slipstream and the right kind of tweaking with the car, I reckon we may be able to get a 108.5. It's a pretty simple circuit. There is only 7 corners, and most of those are flat out, to be fair. One low braking, or one hard braking, should I say, which is a third gear corner. But other than that, everything is pretty much flat out, foot to the floor. So settings for this week are going to be very different from the settings of last week. Last week was all about making sure you got the balance of the car right for the difficult turns. This week it's more about just making sure you can get it as quick as possible for as long as possible on the straights and the banking. You haven't got many braking zones here to worry about, but we'll go through a full lap when we start qualifying in 4 minutes time. I could talk a little bit about the settings, couldn't I, in case anyone was wondering how the cars were set up, but I can't be bothered, in all honesty. Now, if anyone's interested, if you're watching from the UK, I just for the purposes of research, I watched all of the supermarket Christmas ads today for no other reason than I wanted to see which one was best, which one was the most Christmassy, and all that kind of thing. And I do have a definitive answer to the question. I'd be interested if you're watching and you're listening on chat and you've seen them. Have a little interaction on the chat and tell me what you think is the best Christmas advert, what you think is the worst, or tell me if you haven't seen any of them. Whatever you feel like, really. I can tell you that the best one is the BFG one, and any other answer other than that is incorrect. The second best one is the one with what's her name, the bird out of Pirates of the Caribbean, Keira Knightley. That's the one. That's the second best one. The rest are rubbish. And just out of interest, Iceland for the first year ever, have not done a Christmas ad. And the reason they've not done a Christmas ad is because apparently they're going to make prices low. Who cares? Do a Christmas ad. Right. Completely off topic. Shall we do an onboard before qualifying starts? Go on, let's do that. So here we go. This is no, he's not doing it. Pain in the arse. It's almost like he was listening and just thought, you're not copying me. Right, Stormfly, he's on an outlap at the minute, so he's going to be doing a fast lap soon. So we'll stay with him and we'll go fully on board, shall we? That's the one. Like he's in the cockpit. It's got the word cock in it. Such a child. Such a child. I act like a child, but you know what I was looking at today? Mobility scooters. Right, so here we go. So you want to get a really, really good run out of the last corner, maintaining as much speed as possible, hugging the outside wall without touching it. If you've got a bit of slipstream, all the better. Flat out, right the way up into 6th gear. You're going to get to about 180 as you get to turn 1, and you don't need to lift. You can literally use the banking, let it drag you round the corner. And with slipstream, you can see just how much benefit that slipstream has. Obviously, it's going to cost you a bit of time if you have to pull out, as he has done. Heading down towards turn 2, little bit of a lift and a brake for this one. You've got to watch the back end as you brake in, but stay nice and tight round the outside without wall riding if you can help it. Slowest corner of the circuit coming up with turn 3. You brake nice and hard, turning in 3rd gear down to about 75 miles an hour as you go round that corner, then flicking it to the left, just trying to maintain stability at the back of the car into the tunnel, and you're on that power through that penalty line. Penalties here are devastating. 5-second penalty is worth about 10. Start to ramp up the speed before you go into the final corner. Little lift, nothing more than that. Keep the car stable, and then on that power, ready to run down to the line. Qualifying starting in 1 minute. I should probably tell him there's a 1 minute warning, shouldn't I? I'll do that in a minute. And across the line, and that is a 1:08.7. So maybe we're not going to get the 1:08.5 I expected. But there we have it. So, we're all ready to start qualifying. I think everyone's in. Nath's in, Stormfly, PM10, Brian's in, Osman, Matilda, Unforgiven, Willard and Wadru. So let's exit that view because we've got to tell them qualifying is starting. I'm just going to type the word ready. There we go. I could use the keyboard, but that would involve putting my control down. There we go. Oh, I nearly exited then. Imagine if I did that. Right, so we go. Let's start, shall we? Just waiting for Phaser to tick in. Come on, Phaser, what are you doing, mate? I will start without you if you don't tick in 30 seconds because I'm cruel like that and I don't give a toss. There we go, he's ready. Let's go. So let's start the qualifying. Ticky tick tick. 3, 2, 1. Boom shanker. And qualifying doth begin. And at least I didn't tick in this time, which I have been known to do on many occasions when I'm not supposed to. I don't want to do chat, do I? I want to do that one. Display all. There we go. Should we put our overlay up? Let's do that. The quality one like that, see? Look. It's all artsy and stuff. Right, so Nath, Osman, they're the first two out, so they're going to set the benchmark. Now, we know that PM10's quick. We know that Stormfly, I think Stormfly's going to be quick here. He didn't have a great run out at the Glen, but this is less about you cornering them. Well, look, there is an element of cornering speed here, of course there is, but it's less about the time in and out of the corner, in the corners, as it is getting out of the corners here. And there's a lot less braking, of course, because there's only a few corners to worry about. Stormfly out in front. No, he's not. It says he's out in front. PM10 says he's out in front, but he's not out in front either. Who is at the front of the pack? Let's go all the way there. I think it is Nath. Yeah, there we go. It is Nath with Osman just behind him. Can you hear my dogs bark in the background? Noisy buggers, isn't they? You wouldn't believe that the loudest one is actually the smallest dog. It's the little dachshund one, because he's a git, because all little dogs are gits. Right, so we do begin out lap, and across the line, and the first lap begins. Now 1087. Can we see a 1086? That'd be a blistering lap if we do. Has anyone in practice held something back? This is, of course, we've got to mention the sponsors, haven't we? It's brought to you by Eldridge Air Conditioning, which at the moment, if you've got your air conditioning on and it's not set to hot, there is something wrong with you, because it was bloody freezing today. I don't know where you are in the country. I know Willard is pretty close to me, so it snowed here today for all of about 20 minutes, but it was properly cold, and I lost my hat today, so I'm pretty pissed off about that, because I had my hat when I left the house, and I took it, and then I took it off when I got to the studio, and it fell out of my pocket somewhere. So either it's in the studio and someone has earned a hat, or it's in the studio and it will be waiting for me, or it fell out of my pocket somewhere else and somebody's just earned themselves a brand new hat, because it was brand new. I took it out of the packet this morning. Right, so Nath is not going to set the fastest time because he's already been overtaken by 2 cars on the qualifying lap. Brian Moncani is going to be the first one to cross the line and put down the benchmark. Out of the final corner, flat out, flat out, flat out. That's the order of the day. And across the line, 1096, and it's actually Brian Moncani briefly on pole until Wadru crossed the line with a 1092. So there is still about half a second off the practice times. So there's definitely 5/10 to find somewhere. How can they find it? Now, the problem you've got, of course, that slipstream is great. Slipstream is wonderful here. But when you're in qualifying, there is the danger that slipstream takes you just beyond the car in front and you then lose it. So can you find that balance between using the slipstream to gain that little bit of extra time, and obviously not losing it when you overtake the car during qualifying? PM10 puts himself on the front row with Wadru. Oh, bless you. Sorry. Now, Wim, I was looking for Tony Bennett, because someone suggested after last week's broadcast that I play some Tony Bennett music every time I talked about him. Now, I actually found a clip of Tony Bennett singing that I can legally use without copyright, but there's no point playing it if he's not here. It kind of defeats the object, right? But I also, to be fair, I did forget this. I was supposed to bring out my you can't park that there thingy, but I forgot it. And let's be fair, you're not going to get that often here. Well, you might do. We'll see. We will see. So Wadru is a 1089. There's still a couple of tenths. We know he's got another couple of tenths because he's already done it in practice. Right, so how's it looking at the moment? Stormfly puts himself on that front row with a pretty decent 1092. PM10 racing down onto the second row. 1095, his fastest lap. He wasn't able to improve on that last run. It's a 10-minute qualifying session, of which we've had 4 minutes. As it's a pretty darn quick lap, they should be able to squeeze 8, maybe even 9 if they're really, really clever qualifying laps in. Brian Moncani, who set the first time on the board, still in that front 2 rows. Willard looking pretty quick with his big baby pink Ferrari. Nath just behind us. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Can't park that there, mate. Spinning the AlphaTauri Ferrari around and around and around. Unforgiven. He's currently outside that 110 mark. Can he get it? You want to be sub 110. Now the big problem here, of course, is if you have a little scrape with a wall or you have a little spin, and you get out of anyone's slipstream during the race, particularly, you could find yourself in a little bit of bother, because the slipstream is going to be absolute key here. You want the car ahead, punching the hole through the air, reducing that drag, and then you're able to use that. You'll find that unless the car in the lead can pull away and drop the cars behind, they're going to have a difficult evening, particularly on the towards the end of certainly the end of the final sector and sector, certainly all of sector 1. So Unforgiven still not. He has improved, but not by enough. Everyone is sub 110. No, they're not. Everyone in the top 3 is sub 110. Brian Moncani with a 1. Oh, no, he's gone sub 10 already. Ignore me, I was looking at the wrong time. Osman, he is just literally 5/100th of a second is what he needs to find, but he's not going to get it that time out. Or is he? Yes, he is. He has gone sub 110 now. Stays in 5th place, though. Willard in 6th. It's Matty Alder, who did make it in time and didn't force me to have to do have to build the grid, which I'm going to have to do after the next couple of races anyway. He's currently running in 7th position. Unforgiven in 8th, Nath in 9th, and Phaser will be bringing up the rear, and not in a satisfying, happy way either. So currently your pole sitter is Wadru with his 1:08.9, and we know there is a couple more tenths in that purple Ferrari. So there is definitely some more time to be had. Can he find it? Can Stormfly or PM10 or even Brian Moncani, who are just outside that pole position, can they find it? Now remember, the setup for this is there are 3 races. The first race is set by this qualifying session. The second race is set by how you finish in race number 1. And then the final race is done on reverse grid. And they have 3 sets of tyres to use, 2 sets of softs, 1 set of mediums. And the drivers can decide when they use what tyres. How they decide it is entirely down to them, as Brian Moncani goes into the top 4 and Stormfly takes that pole position with a 1:08.901, and we still know there's still 2 tenths on the table from practice. But yeah, so when they decide what tyres they're going to look at their qualifying position. And then I think that's going to determine what they use. If you qualify near the front and you use anything other than softs, you need to give your head a wobble, because on this track you're going to lose time straight away. You're not going to have the same grip through the fast corners. You're certainly going to lose it through the couple of slow corners in that middle sector. Now, if you're starting near the back if you haven't had a great qualifying session, maybe it's a good idea to use that to get those medium tyres out of the way. Now, it might mean you start near the back of the grid in race number 2, but it does also mean you've only got soft tyres at your disposal, particularly if you are one of those running at the back. Then you've got to use those medium tyres early, because when you get reverse grid, you're going to want those soft tyres to be able to hold on for as long as possible. Now, the races are 15 minutes, so we're looking at about 13 laps, 14 laps, something along those lines. If my math is correct, it's probably not, but there we go. Stormfly has set a new record with the 1:08.901. Wadru is close with his 1:08.932, but hasn't been able to improve on that, and in fact hasn't gone sub 1:10 since he set that lap. So I'm wondering if something's just gone wrong for him. Maybe he's pushing too hard now. He's found that kind of rhythm, although currently 2 tenths up, and that 2 tenths would be enough to take pole position as we head into the this will be the penultimate lap for a lot of these drivers, apart from whoever that is sitting in the pits. We'll have a look in a minute. So we'll stay with Wadru, because he was up at the last split. He's up again. He's not up as much as he was. Can he maintain this? Because this is still enough to steal pole position. And it looks like he might get another shot at it anyway. He got a bit of slipstream there from Nath. Hopefully Nath's not going to hold him up as he heads down towards the line. Can he take pole position from Stormfly? Yes, he can. And he's a 10th up. So Stormfly is actually the driver sitting in the pits. He was quite confident that was enough, but it does put him on the front row, of course. Wadru's stealing that. Now, can anybody else, is there anybody else even close to nicking that pole position now? Because we are on that final lap, rounding the final corner. Osman and Brian Moncani, I was going to say Dutchman, but he's not. He's Belgian, isn't he? Like the chocolate. They look like they're having their own little personal battle on the track. I'm not entirely sure whether this is going to be quick enough, although we did see Osman move out the way for Brian Moncani there, so maybe Brian Moncani is on a quick lap. We'll see the next split as he crosses. He's up on his current time by a couple of tenths, and that might be enough to put him on the front row. Maybe. No, it won't be, will it? Because he's half a second back. Ignore me. He's not enough to put him on the front row. We'll see now. I know he will be. He's 4 tenths off the lead. Can he get second? No, he can't. He does stay in third. So far, this is how we're looking. We've got Wadru. I've got to write this down, haven't I? Wadru from Stormfly, from Brian Moncani, PM10 in for PM10 on the second row. This could be an opportunity for him to pick up some juicy points. I haven't seen a league table yet, but We'll share one later in the season when it actually matters. Just waiting for everybody else to finish. Who else we got left out on track? I don't think anybody else is, excuse me, on a hot enough lap. Brian Moncani, we know, is done. PM10. Looks like they're all done. No one's going super, super quick. Just need them all to cross the line, don't we? So, yeah, so Osman, then we've got Nath, then we've got Grilled Willard. I don't know why I call him Grilled. His good name's Gran. Matty Alder, and then Unforgiven and Phaser. This is the easy bit of hosting because I don't actually have to set the grid. It's done from qualifying. I actually got a funny story. I'll share it with you later. Something funny happens today, but I'll share it with you later on in the race. So if you're watching and you want to hear a funny story, then you have to hang around because I'm not going to share it yet. Because I like to keep the suspense. Right, what are we waiting for? No one's going quick, so we should be done. Oh, it's like a 3-minute timeout, isn't it? That's what it is. 180 seconds. Probably a bit too long for this track. Just the 10 runners today. No Grasshopper this week, unfortunately, and no Tony Bennett. So for all the good work Grasshopper did last week with 2 wins, he's when they sort out the points, he's not going to be top of the pile, unless, of course, PM10 or Matty or Willard or Oz, who all scored some good points last week, unless they have an absolutely terrible day at the office. And there we go. Quali is completed. There we go. Result there. I could screenshot it, but I'm not going to. There we go. Just for those who need to know, it's Wadru and Stormfly on front row. Moncani, PM10 on row 2. Osman and Nath, row 3. Row 4 is Willard and Matty Alder. And then row 5, Unforgiven and Phaser. Right, let's put the ready signal up. Are you ready? And we'll get cracking with race number 1. It's not so. It's boring when you've got to do all the work, isn't it? Nearly went to exit again. How funny would that be? Right. Everyone's got their tyres on. We'll have a little look and see what everyone's got in a moment. Let's go. Race starting. 15 minutes around this very, very fast circuit. I would imagine race pace is going to be in the 110s. Maybe the low 109s if they're really, really pushing. I can't imagine they're going to be pushing it too hard, though, especially early on. There we go, everything there. And we want to go here and here for the race start. Let me get a really good view of who's where and who's what and who's the other. We'll have a look at tyres in a little while. Right, 5 lights and they go out and we are racing here at the high speed ring. And a poor start from Stormfly. And that's hampered Nath as well because he caught the back of him. Stormfly dropping down the order like a stone. Wadru already out into the lead. No, Brian Moncani taking the lead of this race straight from the off. Really poor start from Stormfly. We'll have a look at that now, actually. No, we won't. Because I didn't press the thingy quick enough. There we go. Anyway, don't worry about it. See, it's because I've got concentrated on too many things. Brian Moncani in the lead from Wadru. It's really, really close at the moment, though. We've got Osman is there. PM10 Racing, Willard, Unforgiven. Big pile of them. All the way back to Stormfly. And then there's Phaser there. And Matty Alder and Nath. All still within touching distance of each other. Still all to race for at this stage. But out in front, here is the battle for the lead. Wadru tucked in behind Brian Moncani. We know Wadru had a really good qualifying session, starting out in the lead. But Brian Moncani taking that position back from him. Can Wadru take it off of him and make it his again? Very, very difficult to pull away on this track because of the slipstream. You can see there just how close he is to the back of Brian Moncani using that slipstream and gets out ahead of him. You can see there behind now they're already starting to pull a little bit of a gap from Osman, and then Osman's got a little train behind him. Brian Moncani having a look up the inside, no doing, having a look around the outside, maybe just going to tuck in now as they head towards this it's it's not a fast, it's a fast corner, but you do have to drop the speed a little bit and just tuck around the outside along that green apron, just to make sure you don't want to take it too tight, of course, but you don't want to clip the wall either. The field is starting to spread out a little bit. Let's have a little look how much it is spreading out. Brian Moncani on the back of Wadru, it's half a second. We've got Osman almost half a second behind him. But then we've got a little battle going on between Unforgiven and Willard, and Stormfly and PM10 Racing are all really, really close to each other. We're going to see now, as we round here, now the Stormfly is the back of that. Phaser's already dropped for 3.5 seconds. Nath dropped off as well. He's miles behind. And Matty Alder is with Nath at the back, so they've got their own little battle going on. Phaser in a bit of no man's land. Stormfly at the back of that slipstream train, which has got 5 cars in it at the moment. Into turn 1 they go, all as it was before. As we can just see those front two just starting to edge away a little bit, trying to get out of that slipstream range of the cars behind. Osman desperately trying to cling on. He wants to stick with those front two because he's going to be in big trouble from those cars behind him, as PM10 Racing, having a little shifty look, takes 3rd position. Unforgiven trying to follow him round as well. Brian Moncani with that inside line is holding on to it, or is he? He's up, sorry, not Brian Moncani, Unforgiven, sorry, holding on to fourth position over Osman. So Osman had the inside line, but obviously didn't have it for that left-hander, so does lose out. Stormfly still back there, but he's having a look now at Osman, tucked on the back of him. Willard tucked to the back there as well. He's just starting to lose touch with that pack. And there's a collision. What happened there? We'll get back to those now and see what happened. There's another car spinning. So let's have a little look what happened here. So you can see them come through the tunnel. And Unforgiven is in 4th position, and it's all looking good. And then touch of the wall there, he gets caught by the wall. Osman gets caught in behind him. It all goes horribly wrong. Ding dang do, and you've got cars already way off the pace now. Unforgiven is back up and running, as is Osman, but they're out of this front 5 now. Phaser still in a little bit of space by himself, but finds himself gaining a couple of places. And that was what you call a racing incident. Nothing you could really do about that. Unforgiven clipped the wall, just trying to keep his pace around that corner. And with Osman in behind him, it just caused a little bit of an accident, but it is what it is. As the front two start to pull away now from the rest of the pack. Right, shall we have a look at tyres? Because I think that's quite important. It's clear that these two are going to be running the softs. Of course they are. Wadru and Brian Moncani on the softs. PM10 Racing, I've got to say, up in 3rd on the medium tyres. He's got Stormfly for company. He is running the softs. Now, he should be able to quite easily take PM10 with this slipstream here, and you can see just how he's tucked in behind that blue Ferrari of PM10 Racing as they go into this banked left-hand turn, just easing round. Now is Stormfly just going to stick with him and let him pull him along before he slingshots out as they come out of the corner? And that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to slingshot out of the corner into the next turn, not brave enough to pull it off at that stage. PM10 holding on. And what happened there? We've lost somebody. Where's he gone? Where has he gone? Brian Moncani all the way back there. I didn't see him disappearing off. Can we find out what happened to him? Where he lost it much earlier. So he's obviously had a little touch with the wall. And he's right back there now with Matty Alder. So all gone horribly wrong for him, which leaves Wadru in absolute joy out in front. He's like a kid in a candy store here now. He can literally just chuck his laps in 3 seconds clear. We're on lap 5, and we are just over 5 minutes into this 15-minute race. If you're just joining us, where the bloody hell have you been? We've been busy and we've been waiting for you. This is the URL Ferrari challenge, and Wadru currently leading the way. He was the pole sitter. Stormfly up into 2nd. He got past PM10 Racing, which is to be expected with those soft compound tyres. What he needs to do now is see if there's any way without slipstream he can close the gap on Wadru. He's got plenty of time to do it. Got probably another 7 or so laps, or probably still another 6 or 7 laps to do that. PM10 Racing is hanging on, and he's got the benefit of a bit of a gap back to Willard. He's on those medium tyres, Willard on the softs. He's got no one bearing down on him, so as the cars start clipping walls, the gaps start to show. As you can see the back end just stepping out a little bit there for Willard. Fazer still in no man's land, still on his own, but comfortably running in 5th at the moment. And that's a good start for Fazer, bearing in mind he qualified plumb last. Unforgiven after clipping the wall, back in 6th place. He's 7 seconds off the back of Fazer. And we've got Nath there running in 7th position, heading under the bridge now. He's got Matty Alder 1.4 seconds behind him. That's where the battle is at the moment, at the back of the pack and not at the front. Brian Moncani had a little wobble somewhere. That sent him from being comfortably out in front to all the way at the back and battling now to get anything out of this race. And we've got Nath there running on the medium tyres. He's going to be picked off by Matty Alder and Brian Moncani, and maybe even Osman at the back there on those soft compound tyres. Now remember that the end of this race sets the grid for the next race. So these guys at the back, if they can't make some inroads out the front, they're going to want to use those medium tyres in the next race and get them out of the way, because then that gives them a really good position on the grid for race number 3. You can see there Matty Alder holding on at the moment, but he has a little wobble. Brian Moncani comes through. Matty Alder just touching the wall. Can Osman come through as well? Yes, he can. Fazer leaving the room. Fazer disconnected. He was having a wonderful race, up 5 places, and he's disconnected from the room. That's really, really disappointing for him, with Fazer being DC'd like that. I do hope he makes it back for race number 2, when he'll start at the back of the grid again, unfortunately. Right, out in front, what's the gap looking like? It's still around 3 seconds. Was that Osman leaving the room as well? Osman leaving the room. Now, was that a result of all the issues he's having, or were those issues he's having why he ended up at the back of the pack? So Osman leaving us as well. That's 2 disconnections in 1 lap here on lap 8 of this 15-minute Ferrari challenge here at the high speed ring. So Matty Alder bringing up the rear, 1.1 seconds behind Brian Moncani, who is all over the back of Nath, who's going to be struggling on those medium compound tyres. Can Brian Moncani find a way through? Can he slide through like a melted Belgian chocolate? Why has he got an American flag on his car? He's literally Belgian, but there we go. You wouldn't associate American flag on a Ferrari in any way, would you? Really? It is what it is. Fazer is back in the room. That suggests to me his was a disconnection, and I'm sure he's pretty pissed off right now, having got his way up to 5th through a little bit of great driving and some misfortune of others. Always like to celebrate misfortune of others, because it makes us feel better about ourselves. That's why bullies exist. I'm not advocating bullying, or I am. Who knows? Little nudge. Now, this is what Brian Moncani can do. He can nudge Nath along, stay in behind him, and use Nath as a way of trying to catch up to the back of Unforgiven. PM10 back ahead of Stormfly. They've got a right battle going on, these two, at the moment. Let's have a little look, see. Stormfly up the inside. You would have thought he would have the better grip on that corner, slowest corner on the circuit, of course. Does make the move back on PM10. Can PM10 come back at him? He does. He's got the inside line this time. Can he make it stick? No, he can't. Stormfly holding on. He does not want PM10 to get the other side of him on this faster section. PM10 now in that slipstream. But this is a great place to be as they round this final corner. Can't see anyone behind now, and to be fair, Wadru is way out in front. Can't hardly you can just see him up in the distance. Can now PM10 use that slipstream? He's got those medium tyres, and I'll tell you what, if he gets a top 3 here on those tyres, this is a great result, giving Stormfly a little nudge. Working together, are they, to try and close that gap? Doesn't look like they're going to be able to. It's increased to 5.6 seconds. Maybe these guys should look at racing. And PM10 up the inside. They're side by side. Stormfly with a better run because he went round the outside. He's into turn 2 ahead. To PM10 Racing, having a little look, but thinking, actually, I'm probably not going to do it this time. Stormfly really needs to try and drop PM10 Racing if he wants to make sure this race is nice and comfortable. And of course, we know that every driver has an error in them. Willard at the moment, look at that. No one around for miles. Lovely, lovely blue skies. He can enjoy the scenery, even if it is marred by that horrible pink on his Ferrari. Unforgiven, 10.3 seconds back. Not really enough time in this race now to catch up, unless, of course, one of those top four has a little problem. But Brian Moncani has kind of found his way round now, found his pace again, and he is closing that gap to Unforgiven, 1.8 seconds, as PM10 Racing back into second position. It really is going off up there. Nath back in 7th as Mattiolda in 2.3 seconds back. Not quite finding the pace. Now, you're always going to be at a disadvantage when there's people in the room that have had an opportunity to throw some practice laps in. Remember, Mattiolda didn't have that benefit. He came straight in cold, straight into qualifying. So it's going to take him a little while to find that rhythm. We've been ignoring him, but he is the leader of the race. So there we go. There is Wadru. He was on pole and he lost that initially to Brian Moncani. But has found himself back on the lead of the race again. And he's now 7 seconds clear. Although the fastest lap of the race goes to Stormfly with a 109.1. PM10 Racing has taken second position. They still got that battle going on. It's a great ding-dong battle between these two. That's the one I want. Great view from Stormfly's car. That's what he can see right now. I've got to say, I have missed like these little shadows and stuff. Very, very good. He's almost getting dropped here, which is going to be a big problem. He wants to try and close within 1 second. The further you get away from the car behind, the less benefit you get of the slipstream. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? But for anyone that's watching, if you don't understand how slipstream works, essentially what's happening is you've got air resistance against the front of the car. Now, I can't imagine anyone's watching that doesn't know this, but I'm going to tell it anyway because it's just how it works. So you every time you drive into the air, you've got that resistance from the air pushing into the front of your car, which is why they're shaped the way they are. You want the front of your car to be kind of pointing downwards. Now, if you've got a car in front of you, that car is taking all of that air resistance and spreading it around their car, which means that they're essentially punching a hole in that air for you, which allows you to just travel that a little bit faster. Now, you're going to use less fuel, you're going to use less tyres, although that's not really a consideration here so much, although you can see, starting to see some significant wear there on the front right, because that's where the most load is, around these really fast left-hand corners. You've got two really quick, or three really quick left-handers here. And he's starting to lose pace. Now, that could be purely a grip issue, because you can see the mediums have held onto their grip really well. So early in the race, you're going to find the medium tyres not necessarily quick, but if you can hold on for a good long period of time, then you find that towards the end of the race, when the soft tyres, you can see there, the soft tyres all have a problem, your medium tyres start to give you that little bit more performance. Wadru is leading this race by some margin, and he's going to be crossing the line very soon. Now, I'm trying to see if there's any battles going on. There is a battle back here. That's Brian Moncani on the back of Unforgiven. Can he catch him to make it a rescue of some points for him, bearing in mind that he was running out front with Wadru right at the beginning of this race. Wadru rounding the final corner. We're going to watch him cross the line very soon and take his first W of the evening. W stands for win, of course. And there he is. W for Wadru, W for win here at High Speed Ring. PM10 Racing is going to hold on for second position, and Brian Moncani has got up into fifth place. There is PM10 coming across in second, Stormfly in third, Willard all alone in fourth place. He's going to take that position. Brian Moncani did get around Unforgiven using all of that barrier on the way out there. Not going to be under pressure from Nath. Couldn't wall ride his way into the top five. There is Nath coming home, also with medium tyres in seventh, and Mattiolda technically not bringing up the rear because two cars disconnected from this race. So there we have it. There's your first race done and dusted. Good win there from Wadru. Pole to win. Yeah, I saw that, mate. I don't know whether it was a disconnection for Osman. I think Osman had a little paddy and threw his controller at a wall. Yeah, so what we got. So let's have a little look at the... No, we don't want that one. Exit spectation mode. We want to look at the results. So there we go. So we've got Wadru, who will start on pole for the next race. PM10 will join him on that front row. Stormfly in third. He'll now have the benefit. He'll still have to use some medium tyres at some point, as will Wadru. PM10's used his already. Willard with a nice solid fourth position, with Brian Moncani in fifth. Unforgiven will be behind him on the third row, with Nath, then Matty Alder, and then Phaser will be at the back of the grid as he disconnected. So shall we set the grid for race number 2? Because that's my job now, isn't it? Edit event settings, is that the one? Edit grid. I forgot how to do it. How do I do it? Oh, there. No, hang on. I forgot how to edit the grid. It's not there. I've actually forgotten how to edit the grid. Oh, I've got to change this anyway, haven't I? What is it again? So we're going to go to... it's now going to be evening. So I've got to change that. So time of day will change to evening. Change event settings. There we go. Oh no, I've got to turn qualifying off as well. Idiot. So this is what happens when you don't do this. Turn qualifying off because we don't need qualifying. Race settings, grid start. Where's the qualifying settings? Track settings. No, we need to change that as well. Room mode. It's practice and race now, isn't it? That's better. Or do I... Oh no, it's set by host, isn't it? See, this is why I shouldn't be responsible for this. No, it's practice race. Grid order is set by host. There we go. See, 18 months since I've done this, you know. You shouldn't trust me to do anything with any level of responsibility. I'm a 50-year-old man. I have no responsibility. I've just managed to keep 5 children alive. Right, now we've got it. Now I can set the grid, can't I? Change grid order. There we go. So Wadru is first. Wadru is there. Oh, we've got to wait for people to... No, don't want to... Yeah, we do. No, we don't. We want to wait for everyone to tick in so I can set the grid. Terrible, isn't it? Terrible, terrible, terrible. Yeah, I'll tell you my story in a minute. I'll actually, while everyone's checking in, I'll tell you my funny story. It is 15-minute race, isn't it? But yeah. What have I done wrong? Where have I not done? What have I done wrong? Tip by host. Do I do that one then? Regulation settings, penalty settings. Where's the race settings? What have I done wrong? I've definitely forgotten something. Hang on. Grid order set by host. Oh, the time limit 15 minutes. Yeah, that's right. Change event settings. Right, now we got it right. Unforgiven, sorry mate, I couldn't log in, so I had to take on all this responsibility of having to do this. Right, while everyone's checking, I'll tell you the story. So, as you guys know, I do a bit of radio, and I was at the hospital today, and I had a little wander around getting requests from patients for the show at lunchtime. And I walked up to this old lady, and she said, I want anything by a black guy. And I said, you can't say that. And she said, I'm 92 years old. I can say what the fuck I like. And I thought, what a way to live. What an absolute genius woman she is. But no, it made me laugh quite a lot because she just didn't give a shit. And I'd like to be like that too. I don't know if Osmond's coming back, so we're just going to do that. Right, so now I can set the grid order. And we want Wadru is going to be up there. Then PM10 Racing is up there. Stormfly, which is... Where's Stormfly gone? He's not there yet. I'll put him in a minute. Willard will be there. The Stormfly gone away. Be Willard, then it's Brian Moncani. Then it's Unforgiven, isn't it? Unforgiven's there. Then Nath. This got to be an easy way to do that. We'll apply that for now and just wait for Stormfly. Where's Stormfly gone? Is he coming back? How long do we give him? What's the time now? 20:42. I've changed room settings twice and he hasn't come back in. So I have to wonder if he's coming back at all. Let's assume not then, shall we? Let's give the ready signal. See if everyone's ready. I should check, see if I missed any messages, shouldn't I? That'd be the grown-up thing to do, wouldn't it? There's some messages for him, but yeah, not responding. Right, I think we'll just go. We'll go ahead. He'll find his way back to us if he needs to. Do not enter, idiot. Right, that's the one on the host menu. Start race. Let's do it. So, Stormfly, although he would have started on the second row, is not here. That bumps Brian Moncani onto row 2. It bumps Nath up onto row 3. It bumps Phaser up onto row 4. How's about that then? Lots of views. Let's go there, shall we? And have a look and see. So 5 lights will go on, the lights will go out, and then we will be away. That's 3 lights, that's 4 lights, that's 5 lights. There's a pause. Do you go early? You wait for the lights to go out and you're away, and everyone seems to be away pretty well this time. No getting bogged down on the line, and that is a fantastic start from Brian Moncani. Launch control extraordinaire. He's going up the inside of Wadru. He's got that great run into turn 1. This is what he did in the first race. He got himself up into the lead of the race. This time, can he hold on? He's on the soft tyres. Wadru on those mediums this time. He knows he's going to have it all to do now, and he won quite significantly in race number 1, but he's not got the benefit of those soft tyres this time. PM10 Racing's already used the mediums. He's on those softs. He's currently running in 3rd. Nath in 4th. Unforgiven on those mediums. Are they going to forgive him if he makes a mistake? Willard there on the mediums as well. He's going to struggle a little. No, sorry, Matty Order on the softs. Matty Order on the mediums, not Willard. Willard's on the soft tyres. Phaser there at the back of grid. He's on those mediums. Little clip of the wall. That's going to take him right off the pace as they head into this fast section. So Brian Moncani does lead at the moment from Wadru. Now he's going to have to use those medium tyres in that final reverse grid race. So he really, really needs to get out in front and get some really good points from this race. All nice and close as we come to the end of that one. Wadru having a look up the middle on those medium tyres. Pulls out that purple Ferrari and just points it up the inside and takes the lead into turn 1. Brian Moncani has to tuck in behind. He's going to have another opportunity. You've got to feel that if he can keep this on the road, keep it away from the wall, he's going to have another opportunity. Nath there getting really involved with the racing, as is PM10. Nath making a move up into 2nd. Brian Moncani down to 3rd. There's a spin. Nath is out of here. Let's have another little look at that then. Where is Nath? That's the one. There's Nath. So you can see here, Nath makes the move on Brian Moncani up the inside, but just outbrakes himself, clips Wadru, puts Wadru in a wall, loses the back end, and around and around and around and around we go. That is not good. Now Wadru is still in the lead. That looks like to have had a problem for Brian Moncani because he's down there behind Nath as well. So is there a little bit of bitterness now after that? Did that cost Brian Moncani when Nath went a spinning? We can have a look actually at the replay from that and see what effect that had on Brian Moncani. So we'll see here the replay. You can see Nath coming up the inside, outbrakes himself just a little bit too late on those brakes. He clips Wadru. Brian Moncani clips the back of him. That allows PM10 Racing through. Then what happens? Then Willard comes through and he just couldn't get back up to speed. Well, it looks actually like he's having a problem with his gearing. Ooh, what happened there? So, yeah, big problems at the back. PM10 Racing up into the lead of this race. Remember, he's already used those medium tyres. Can he now use that momentum to get ahead as he spins into the slowest corner on the circuit? Wadri holding on in second. I'll tell you what, if he can hold on for another top three here, he puts himself in really good stead for the final race. He will be starting towards the back of the grid, but he'll be doing that with significant pace on this track and soft compound tyres. Willard up into third. I'll tell you what, Willard is showing some great racing in this Fezzer Challenge. Got himself a fourth place in race 2 last time out at the Glen. Fourth place in that last race and third place currently at the moment. He's got Matty Alder almost for company. You can see the gap out front just starting to open up a little bit. There's your top 4 coming through. And Unforgiven on that kind of trajectory as well. Now, can he do anything from there? He's on the medium tyres, so hanging on to the top 5 is always going to be a little bit difficult. In the distance there's Fazer who got disconnected in race number 1. You kind of want to pray that he gets to hold on this time. He's on those medium tyres. He's got a bit of a gap from Nath and Brian Moncani, who had a little coming together on that second lap. And that was, Nath made a great move up the inside, but just outbroke himself, which meant he clipped the back of Matty Alder. Matty Alder, very lucky, being so tight to the wall as he was, didn't cause him too many problems, but it did cause Brian Moncani a problem. Now, the question is, that problem that caused Brian Moncani, was that purely for that little accident, or was there genuinely an issue with his rig? Because you could see that he wasn't going through the gears the way you would expect. So it could have been a rig issue, although whatever it was seems to be fixed now, as he's really close to the back of Nath, and is he looking to make a move into turn 1, where all these shenanigans started just 3 laps ago. He's tucked in behind now. Now he knows that the result of this will put him in pole position. Is he going to look at another strategy here and just kind of stick around at the back and give himself a good start in race number 3? He is going to be, however, on medium compound tyres, and we've seen already from Wadru up there in second just how difficult it is to hold on to the leader with those medium tyres. PM10 is pulling away, not at the rapid rate you'd expect. 109.4 being the fastest lap so far. Now you've got to think, actually qualifying was in the sub 109s, and no one's been able to get anywhere near that in a race spec. Of course, they're going to have to deal with tyre wear. That's always going to be an issue. And that could actually play into Wadru's hands here, because we saw what the wear was like towards the end of race number 1. That outside front right tyre that takes all the load through those fast corners really starts to struggle as you get to sort of lap 12, lap 13. Is that where Wadru can make this count? Just stick him behind, hang on to the back of him as close as you can, and as those tyres start to go off, sort of lap 10, lap 11, lap 12, that's when you can start to lay the hammer down, put the pressure on, because your medium tyres have got that little bit more grip, and there's a little touch of the wall there. That's going to cost him, I thought it was going to cost him time. It hasn't cost him huge amounts, but he has lost a couple of tenths. Willard not able to hold on to those front 3, and now has Matty Alder and Unforgiven really bearing down on the back of him. And bear in mind that Matty Alder is the only one on there, Willard is the only one in there on the soft compound tyres. That will benefit him a little bit, but again, he's going to have that same problem come the end of the race if Matty and Unforgiven stick with him. Brian Moncani is in 6th position. He is off the pace a little bit, 6.2 seconds. But he is ahead now of Nath and ahead of Fazer, who has resumed his position at the rear of the pack. I really feel for Fazer, because he started at the back of the grid after qualifying. The shenanigans around him had put him up in a really good top 5 position. If he'd held on there, that would have been some great points for him. Would have given him good stead to start in this race as well. But he found himself at the back of the grid as Matilda overtakes Willard up into 3rd place. And actually the big battle here is the battle for 3rd between these 3 cars. You can see there's Matilda coming through, and there is Willard retaking it. They're going 3 abreast as they head down to this very slow corner. Unforgiven takes the lead. Willard takes the lead. Unforgiven on the inside though. Willard will have the inside line into the left-hander. He does manage to slot in and take that. So Unforgiven up into 4th. And Matilda dropping down to 5th. Willard, though, in 3rd under significant pressure from the 2 Ferraris behind. Can he hold on? Can he pull a gap? We were talking about slipstream, and that's where the problem lies here for him, is that he is essentially punching that hole. And you can see they're weaving, trying to prevent them getting any benefit from the air that he's punching the hole through. Weaving and weaving and weaving. And that's why you see cars do that. When they come off of corners onto long straights and you see those cars weaving, it's to stop the cars behind getting as much benefit as possible from the slipstream. You can see there they've got nice and close. Now, it does help your tyres. It helps your tyres, it helps your fuel consumption, and of course it helps your aerodynamics. Unforgiven taking a much wider line there than anyone else. Unforgiven though, slingshotting out of the corner up into 3rd. He's not got the inside line though into this, and this is where the soft tyres come into play. Willard able to hold on very briefly. Unforgiven round the outside. He's going to have the inside line this time though. Great move from him. Managed to hold on through that slow corner beside the fact that Willard had the benefit of the soft compound tyres. Now Matilda is maybe going to be looking at having a go as they come out here, and they come round this long sweeping left-hander where they're ramping up the pace. And it's such a frustrating corner because you have to let off the throttle and kind of bide your time as the car drifts wider and wider and wider before you can slam that accelerator on and really push it towards the line. Unforgiven now up into 3rd. Willard in 4th. Brian Moncarney 4.4 seconds back. Willard taking the inside line. He can do that on those soft compound tyres. And they're 3 abreast again almost. Willard holding on. Matilda looking for a way through. Willard looking for a way back into 3rd. Hasn't found it as yet. Will he make the move round the outside this time out though? As we head towards or across the bridge, there's Matilda making the move. Now he's on the medium compound tyres round the outside. Now Willard really needs to try and hold on. He tucks in instead of staying around the outside. Now that's going to cost him because he can't chuck it up the inside of Matilda. Matilda blocking it off. So that's Unforgiven up to 3rd. Matilda up to 4th. How are we looking out in front? PM10 Racing 1.6 seconds clear of Wadru, who wanted to really try and keep PM10 Racing in his crosshairs. He is there. He's only 1.7 seconds, but PM10 Racing with that fastest lap, the 109.4, Wadru really is going to need to start ramping up the pressure now because we're on lap 10. You can see the tyres there just starting now to show signs of wear from those really tricky left-hand corners. How's Fazer doing? At the back, he's 6.4 seconds off the pace. It's consistently in those, apart from a couple of poor laps, consistently in those high 111s, which on a track like this really costs you. But nice to see the Black Flag Racing TV logo there on Fazer's car, of course, because there are many other TV channels available, but none as good as that one, of course. And sometimes we have boobs. We don't. I've never taken my top off, not on stream, in case my camera gets switched on randomly. Imagine that. Imagine that you're watching some lovely racing and then this big fat beardy man brings his boobs out. Brian Moncarney, he's closing the gap to Willard. I think Willard needs to look in his mirrors, because Brian Moncarney has taken almost 2 seconds out of him in the last 2 laps. There are still 3 laps remaining of this race. He could very well, in these last 4 minutes, put a challenge in for 3rd place. Don't count Brian Moncarney out now for a podium position. He is in this all the way. It's going to be under a second as he comes into turn 1. So Unforgiven. Well, let's do the full rundown. PM10 Racing leads at the moment by 2.2 seconds. And bar an error, I think he's going to hold on. Wadru showing really, really good pace in this and the first race and holding on for second. 7.1 seconds clear. The battle they've got is for first and second. The next battle on the racetrack is here. It's Unforgiven, 8 tenths ahead of Matty Alder. They've pulled away from Willard now, and they're leaving Willard adrift into the loving embrace of the Belgian, Brian Moncarni, who's a compatriot phaser at the back of the pack at the moment. It's the Brits versus Belgium. Now, Belgium, for me, is the country that everyone goes to have a war because it's nice and flat. A good place for a war, isn't it, Belgium? Probably let's not suggest that of what's going on at the moment. Do you know today, I don't know if you heard the news today, I digress, there is a Russian spy sub off the coast of the United Kingdom at the moment. Does make you think, doesn't it? And in honour of that, I played From Russia with Love on my radio show today. Why not? Let's laugh about it because we're all going to be dead soon. Right. Unforgiven. That gap was 7 tenths. It's now 3 tenths of a second. Matty Alder, as the end of this race is looming, just starting to put the pressure on. They are pulling away from Willard and leaving Willard dangerously in the crosshairs of Brian Moncarni. He might not be challenging for third, but he's certainly going to be challenging for a top 5. He's putting Willard under pressure. He's up the inside now as they head towards this big braking zone. He's going to be ahead. Willard has to just tuck him behind. Is he going to be able to hold off from Nath? I think he's far enough ahead. That shouldn't be a problem. But Brian Moncarni finds his way through and up into the top 5. So starting to fight his way through the field. 1.9 seconds, a big arse. There's only 1 minute there. So there's this lap and one more. Lap 13 is the final lap. He's got some work to do if he can close it. PM10 Racing from Wadru. We know those two, I think, are going to be 1 and 2 as they start the final lap of this race. Unforgiven trying to hold on from Matty Alder and doing a good job of it at the moment. We can see here he's in the slipstream, but he's not as close as I think he'd like to be. He at this stage he's going to need to be right on his bumper coming into turn 1 to make a move there. But they're both on medium tyres, so they are lacking that little bit extra grip. Brian Moncarni closing in. 1.7 seconds is the gap. Losing a little bit there. Can he close it here? It looks like Brian Moncarni didn't have a great turn 1 because he lost a little bit of time to Matty Alder there. PM10 Racing with the fastest lap, the 109.4. Can he close on Unforgiven? Is there another twist in the tail for Willard maybe? Willard already dropping off. You can see the tyre wear really coming into play. Wadru, 1.9 seconds back. Not much left though, as we see final lap there. So PM10 Racing, he's going to take the win in this second race. So they were 1-2 in race 1. They're 1-2 in race 2, but the other way round this time. It looks like this race is the battle of PM10 and Wadru. PM10 wins this race, not by the same margin that Wadru won the first one. I will add. Unforgiven coming across the line in 3rd position. Here he comes. It's 3rd for Unforgiven, 4th for Matty Alder, 5th for Brian Moncarni. He did close about half a second that lap. Willard, I said would Nath catch him? Nath closed some significant gap to take 7th. One more lap and I think Willard would have been in big trouble. And Phaser bringing up the rear. So there you have it. That's race number 2. All done and dusted. I remember now to do it. Right, so let's do the full rundown. PM10 taking the win there. Good result from him, from Wadru. Now we'll really see the battle because they're both going to be on soft compound tyres. Unforgiven in 3rd. Great run for him. 5th in the first race, and he qualified 9th. So he is making his way right through the order. Matty Alder are in 4th. Brian Moncarni, 5th in race number 1, 5th in race number 2. You've got to say, though, he was 3rd in qualifying. He's consistent race-wise, but it's not what he really wants to see. Willard losing, he was in 3rd at one stage, but losing several places there to drop down to 6th position. But he did start a bit further. Where was he? Yeah, he was in 4th, started 4th. So lost a couple of positions there. Nath started in 6th, 7th, finished in 7th. And Phaser started in 8th and finished in 8th position. Right, so we've got to change the room settings, haven't we? Because That's how we roll. Remind ourselves what the last race, I think it's evening, but we'll have a little check, shall we? It's sunset. Sunset. So we want to go there. That's right. That's right. We want to leave that. We want to change that to sunset, and that's it. There we go. Believe it or not, I've actually done this before. many, many times. It takes a while to remember where everything is, and then you kind of do it. Although I'm quite surprised how little this has changed in a year. It's still got some little bugs in it that they haven't fixed, which annoys me. And now they're going to bring out some paid content. I'll tell you what, I'll pay for the content when you fix the bugs. How about that for a deal, eh? Stormfly not returning. I don't know what happened to him, but he's not come back. We lost Osmond in race number 1. He disappeared after a bad start to the race. It just wasn't going very well for him, and he disappeared and didn't come back. Just waiting for Willard to tick in, because it is reverse grid. So Phaser is going to start out in front. He'll be on, I think everyone's done the medium tyres, or maybe not. Not everyone. I think Willard still needs to use the mediums, doesn't he? We'll see. We will see. Right, Willard ticked in. Let's set the grid, shall we? Change grid order. So it'll be Phaser who will start from pole position, having finished last in that race. And then we have Nath in second. He'll join him on that front row. They're going to want to try and hold on for as long as possible, these two. Willard starting in third. Can he make that third place count from this grid? He's going to need to make it count because he lost out so many last time out. Brian Moncani, who very, very nearly got himself some really good points there, will start on the second row alongside him. Then we've got, I'm trying to read upside down, you see, Matilda is next. Then we've got Unforgiven with a great third place in that last race. Wadru and then PM10 Racing brings up the rear. Be interesting to see how quickly those two can fight their way through the grid. Let's see if everyone's ready, because we are lined up and ready to go for the final race of this Ferrari challenge this week. I can't remember where we are next week. It's because I don't actually do any research, because I'm genuinely the laziest person on the planet. Everyone's ticked in, everyone's ready. Let's do this thing. Don't enter, idiot. Start the race. Good luck to everyone. Phaser, Nath and Willard are going to be under significant pressure from PM10 and Wadru and Unforgiven there at the back. I should have ticked in a race just for shits and giggles. Although we wouldn't have seen much of the race because I am slow and my rig is not even in my house. Well, it's in my house, but it's not in this part of my house. Display. Oh, there we go. I'm not even bothering with the overlays anymore. Who's on the medium tyres? Willard, Brian Moncani on those mediums. Right, PM10 Racing. That's 5 lights. They go out and we are away. Oh, a little bit of a stall from Unforgiven. Wadru with a great launch. PM10 with a pretty decent launch as well. He's going to have a good run on Unforgiven down to turn 1. Unforgiven sensibly staying on that inside line. PM10 does go through though. Phaser in the lead. Brian Moncani already up into the lead of this race. Phaser dropping through the order. PM10 staying around the outside. That was quite clever from Unforgiven. Staying on the inside there allowed him just to keep that position. He does not want Wadru to pull away from him. You can see they're into the turn there. It's, oh, you always worry there. You only need one person on the inside just to break that a little bit late. We've seen what happens when you do that. Willard dropping down the order. Nath dropping down. Phaser down into third. Brian Moncani, you can see him up there leading the race at the moment. Keeping this view at the moment from PM10. Unforgiven does not want to see PM10 pulling away from him, making the move on Willard up the inside, following Matty Alder through. There's a penalty. That's the first penalty we've seen in this race. And that is for, I think, Phaser up in third. He's going to serve that on the next lap. Yes, Phaser with a half-second penalty. Really, really difficult to get a penalty on this track. There's not many track limit violations here. because it's all a wall. Usually when you go off the track, you're in a steaming heap of your own bones and vomit. Right, good run from PM10. You can see they're just dropping Willard. Who is he going to drop into Unforgiven's territory? Good evening, Jay. How are you, my friend? We're only down to 8 races already. We've lost a few. So PM10 heading at with Matilda. Now these two have been fighting for first and second this entire race. Gives him a little nudge. Gives Fraser a little nudge. That slows him down. Willard back through. Little nudge from Unforgiven, helping PM10 on his way again. So PM10 losing touch with Matilda, who he's been battling with for first and second this entire race. He's going to have the inside line and those nice, soft, spongy tyres as we see the back end of Willard just stepping out like a naughty, naughty boy that he is. That's really weird. Right, let's have a look out front because Brian Moncani got a great launch. He's had a great launch in all 3 races now. Hasn't been able to capitalise on it. He was started 3rd on the grid. 5th in race number 1, 5th in race number 2, currently leading by half a second from Nath Fazer, who started on the pole position, or started on pole, not the pole position. Started on pole, finds himself back in 5th. Wadru coming through, Wadru really storming through the pack. PM10 Racing back up into 6th, but Nath not giving it up just yet, and we can see Wadru having a look at Brian Moncani and trying to find a way through. Yeah, I'm alright, mate, I'm alright. It's just bloody cold, and obviously with you being up north, it must be even colder, because it's grim up north. Sorry for the accent, mate. Sorry for that. Has a little look at Brian Moncani, who just holding on the road. But I think he's going to struggle to keep Wadru at bay. PM10 really needs to make some moves now because he's already dropping off the pace. He had a couple of little nudges. It's costing him. And his compatriot, his opponent, although they're all his opponent, his opponent for first and second. What's the word I'm looking for, people? His nemesis, let's use nemesis, is Wadru, and he's the only guy that they've been matching each other for pace. But this race, Wadru, Brian Moncani sticking right in the middle of the road, sticks on the inside. He says, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to go around the outside. And Wadru says, okay. Well, W is for Wadru, W is for win. Snow in London, mate. It wasn't like super heavy, but snow in London. And for a man like me on sticks, it's treacherous as F. It is. Nath having a look at Brian Moncani, coming back at him. Nath starting second will look to try and get back into second. But Wadru now in the lead. He's already pulling a nice juicy gap. So Nath back into second. He's got round Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani cannot let Wadru pull away. PM10 Racing can't seem to get himself back into this race. He's got Fazer behind him. Behind Fazer is Willard, who's dropping down. Unforgiven at the back at the moment. PM10 Racing does not want to see Wadru pulling away out in front. He's currently 3.8 seconds off the lead. If he doesn't make a move soon, he's never going to have the opportunity to fight for that win here. I think Wadru at the moment, he's going to struggle. He's not going to struggle unless Brian Moncani can find a little bit more pace. And we know that Brian Moncani, for some reason, starts really well and just seems to drop off and struggle a little bit. And you can see here, after his great start, again, that brilliant launch that got him up into the lead of this race, he's now starting to drop down the order. And if order is restored, he'll find himself in 5th position again. So Matilda coming through. Now Matilda has had a kind of bit of a mixed bag. The first race, he didn't qualify near the back. Couldn't do better than second last in the first race. A little bit better, 4th place, bearing down on the top 3 in race number 2. He's in 3rd at the moment. He's got ahead of Brian Moncani. PM10, 1.6 seconds behind him. Already 4.4 off the leader. Where are these battles? There are none. There's Fazer. He's in 6th. He's got a bit of a gap. Back to Willard, 1.9 seconds. And Unforgiven having a torrid time. And bear in mind, he's on those soft compound tyres. You would have hoped that they would have given him a little bit of an edge over Willard, who's on the mediums. And PM10, well, PM10's on the softs. And Brian Moncani on the mediums. And that's, I think, where Brian Moncani's going to struggle. Because the 3 cars ahead of him with Matty Alder and with Nath and with Wadru all on the softs. And Wadru is all alone out in front. He's Ronry, oh so Ronry. But Nath and Brian Moncani have got their own little battle going on. Can he get himself back into it? Matty Alder finds himself dropping down. What happened? PM10 Racing closed some gap there on him. Let's find out what happened and why PM10 Racing managed to get ahead of him. Where's PM10? There he is. We can see some skidding up ahead. Let's have another little look at that. So PM10 Racing. Let's have another little look at the replay. So we can see there, up ahead, what happened there? Yeah, some big skid. Big skid, which cost him some places, and that's dropped him down the order, Matty Alder, down to 5th. So, yeah, just lost that back end coming round that left-hander. That's got PM10 Racing into 4th. Now, he's chasing down Brian Moncani. Brian Moncani with those medium compound tyres. Still sticking on the back of Nath. Wadru, he's away. He's gone. He's bye-bye. And still pulling away from PM10 as well, who can't close that gap. The 4.4 seconds now. 4.6. He's got about a second on Matty Alder behind him. He's got 1.1 seconds ahead to Brian Moncani. If we were closer to Christmas, I'd be called PM10 our little drummer boy, because he is a drummer. And drummer boy's a Christmas thing, but it's not that close yet. Brian Moncani and Nath. Now, here's the thing. Here's the big problem for Brian. Is because he's battling with Nath and he can't find a way through, it's just forcing him backwards towards PM10. Wadru with the fastest, and that's actually the fastest lap of all 3 races. Or did we have? No, we had a 109.2 from Stormfly in race number 1, who disappeared after race number 1 and never came back. Maybe he fell into a hole. We'll have to find out. I hope he's okay. Right, so 109.6 from PM10. Last lap for Waldrew, a 109.7. So he's gained a little bit of time on him. Can PM10 close on Brian Moncani? Certainly looks like he can. He's pulling away from Matty Alder. Nice big gap. In fact, this is the only big race on the track at the moment. You can see that battle up ahead, which is why we're sticking with this. Brian Moncani desperately trying to find a way around. And he does get a little bit of a benefit from the wall there, which slingshots him out up into 2nd. Can that give him the impetus now just to push ahead, going a little bit wide there? Nath holding that inside line, not allowing PM10 to dive up the inside of him. PM10 going to stick around the outside, going for the old switcheroo on exit. He did look at holding that around the outside, but had to drop off. Couldn't do it. Right, so half a second separates Nath and what? PM10, yeah, sorry, I was looking at Matty Alder. PM10 gets it all kinds of wrong. Bye-bye, Paul. Wow. So you can see what happens here. He's got it flat out into this final corner. And just a little bit too much of the green stuff clips the wall, and the back end spins out, and it's a sayonara. So that's his charge for top 3, I think at this stage, is over. Well and truly over. So, top 3 at the moment. Can Matty Alder get himself back into contention? He has closed that gap now, 1.3. He was closing on PM10 as well, making good inroads. He's losing a bit of time here. No, he can't park that there, mate. You're absolutely right. He cannot park that there. Silly place to park it because it causes a crash. I've just remembered what happened on this track. There's a funny video on this channel somewhere of I think I was being lapped, and I moved out. I thought I was moving out of the way, but the person had other ideas and decided to go up the. So I was moved out of the way of one car behind me, went around the outside, and ended up tanking into the car who was coming on the inside of me because I didn't see him, and it caused a pile up into the wall, if I remember rightly. And there is a short of it on this channel somewhere. I think there is anyway. Otherwise, I'll dig it out and find it because it was really funny for me, not necessarily for. I think it was Patrick who got the full face of car in the side of his. So Wadru, what's proved to be a very dominant day out of the races at the high-speed ring here today for Wadru. 5.6 seconds clear. Qualified on pole. won race number 1. Couldn't quite find the pace on those medium tyres to beat PM10 to only get second in race number 2, but comfortably in the lead here at the moment. Brian Moncani now finding himself a little bit of pace. He's just got a little bit of gap from Nath now, which he'll want to try and hold on to. Sorry, my cats are going mental. They're having a bit of for some reason, the cats decide that the best time to sleep is during the day. The best time to be awake is at night time and use my head to jump off of. So Nath is maybe going to be... I think Nath is going to be in a bit of trouble in a lap or 2. Yeah, I do remember that, Jay, actually. It's quite a common theme here. Us tail runners taking people out on the high-speed ring. It's very funny as well, of course. So Matilda just within half a second now almost of Nath. Couple of laps remaining. He's just going to have to nick. I think he's going to need 3/10 on this lap to be close enough into the final lap to make the move on turn 1, which is the best place for him to make the move. Unless, of course, he could make it across the line. That'd be nice. A nice 3-way for second across the line. And not the comfortable kind of 3-way either. So Wadru winning from Brian Moncani from Nath and Matilda, where this is the only battle on the racetrack. Let's have a look towards the back, see what's going on back there. Because there we've got Willard. He's got Unforgiven 1.2 behind him. He's got PM10 Racing 1.2 behind him. Now, has PM10 got enough to salvage something from this race? We saw him trying to follow Wadru through from the back of the grid. Started off quite well, then couldn't find his way around Matilda, and then with the pushing kind of lost the back end in the wall at this turn we're coming up to now. Matilda now benefiting from that, of course. He's not gained enough on that previous lap to make a move here, and this is the penultimate lap here at the high speed ring. Wadru leads from Brian from Nath, who are still battling out for second place. Has Nath just been biding his time, ready to put some pressure on? And you see him looking up the inside into turn 2. Does he outbrake himself? No. Brian Moncani, though, using that wall and that green rumble strip to good effect to keep himself ahead. And then Matilda making the move. Nath tried to move up the inside. It's cost him some time, as on this penultimate lap, Matilda making a move round the outside. He's not got the inside line just yet, but he has now into the left-hander. And Brian Moncani with a really, really bad corner there, which has let Matty catch up with him as well. So it could be a double overtake for Matty on this penultimate lap. Wadru leads still by 6.8 seconds. He's not had any pressure from anyone in this race at all. Fought his way through the pack nice and early, capitalised from a couple of mistakes around him, got that lead and just didn't look back, and he does at the moment have the fastest lap of the race. So we start this final lap, lap 13. Wadru leading from Brian. Brian, though, he's got to have a bit of pressure. He's on the medium tyres. He's got Matilda there, but Matilda's got to look in his mirrors, because here comes Nath trying to take back that third position. It's going to be a battle to the line between these three. I can see this being a 3-way, 3 wide across the line. Nath just dropping back a little bit. Is this going to be a photo finish for second, third and fourth? Brian Moncani trying to hold on. Matilda looks around the outside, decides against it, holds and hugs that inside line. Let Brian Moncani go a little bit early, takes a slightly later apex. It's going to give him a better run out. He's got a great run out of that corner. He's going to try and swoop around the outside here. No, he's going to tuck in. He's going to stay there. They're going to both let off the accelerator a little bit here. This is where Matty needs to make his move. They come out of the final corner, heading towards the line. Brian Moncani, can he hold on for second place? Be his best finish in this race. Wadru wins. Brian Moncani for second, holds on. Matilda in third. Fourth is Nath. Great race from Nath, holding on there. Fazer with the 5th place he probably deserved from race number 1. No one challenging him. Unforgiven in 6th. PM10 does get a home in 7th in the end, salvages something, with Willard bringing up the rear in 8th. What a finish. So I've got to say, it's been all about this guy here, Wadru. Absolutely dominant from start to finish. Someone's been practicing. Exactly what he's been doing. Now Now, he didn't have the greatest of showings in that first round. Not certainly compared to these guys, to what he's done in this race, but absolutely dominant here at the high speed ring. So there we go. It's all done and dusted. Just for those of you who needed to see the final result, there's your top 8. Wadru with his second win of this 3-race series and the fastest lap of the race. Brian Moncani holds on. It did look at one stage like Matty Alder was going to nick it from him, but he does hold on for second. Matty in third. Nath in fourth. Fader in fifth. Unforgiven. He'll be forgiven for just not making that top 5. PM10 Racing, what was turning out to be a good day for him with a second and a first place, ends in disaster. And bear in mind that he got that second place on the medium compound tyres as well. So disaster for him in 7th. And Willard bringing up the rear. Didn't really find the pace there despite starting on 3rd place on the grid. So there we go. We're done and dusted for another week. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll be back next week from another racetrack, of which I can't remember. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. Whatever you're doing with the rest of your day or the rest of your evening, have a good one. I've been Urban Pirate. This has been the Ultimate Racing League Ferrari Challenge. Laters.